Hello everyone and welcome to this week's portrait painting demonstration. This week we're going to be taking a field trip to Zoll Studio of Fine Arts in Timonium, Maryland. Today we'll be painting in the Wednesday morning portrait class of the artist Paulden Hamilton, whom was one of my first art instructors when I was just starting out at the age of about 17 or 18. This studio has a lot of history in my artistic development. It was in fact in this studio where I did my first actual oil painting, starting out in this method of burnt umber. So allow me to explain to you what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm blocking in the large outside shape of the profile view of the model's head, and I'm making general placements for the eye sockets and the placement of the nose. But at this stage I'm not focused on any details, I'm not focused on getting exactly what I see in front of me yet. I'm just trying to simplify what's in front of me. So I'll be mixing up what I like to call a false color, which is the first color pass that I'll be putting on the light side of the skin, which will be a little bit warmer and darker than I will eventually paint the final pass of the skin. So I paint a little bit warmer and darker in the beginning with the skin tones as a general convention. Really, it's just so that I can build up the colors and values as I progress in the painting. Though I'm painting rather simply, loosely, and I'm blocking in big shapes, I'm still making careful considerations for the distance of the eye socket structure to the nose and that of the nose to the top of the forehead. And this is where I'm trying to spend the most time at the moment in order to get the accuracy of the likeness of the model. So now I'll be mixing up a generic value scale of flesh tones. I'm ranging from cooler colors to warmer colors and lighter colors to darker colors, but this is only to make a gauge to relate the future colors that I'll be mixing in further passes. So I won't be taking these colors directly off my palette onto the canvas in front of me. So I mix up these color gradations on my palette after I completely fill the light part of the skin with a flat wash of color. And I mix those colors so that I can go on top and build the large form modeling that I'll be creating on the light side of the face. When I do this large form modeling, I think about the basic planes of the head, but I also try to find them in relation to the model in front of me, and once I've located what I think that the structures are going to be in general, I place the lightest region, so I place a light in the regions most perpendicular to the light source, These planes will be the lightest planes, as I've indicated, on the side of the nose and on the upper right side of her left eyebrow. Now I'm sculpting out these planes as if it were a piece of clay in front of me, and I encourage this thought process in my head early on that I'm building something that is three-dimensional in space, so that the final result will hopefully maintain that three-dimensionality. Painting models from profile view can be a rather deceptive thing, because we think, oh, it's just half of a face and that's half of the work, and that's often not the case. It's oftentimes much more difficult to gauge the accurate placements of the eyes and the nose and the mouth, because you don't have the other side of the face to relate to, so you really have to imagine what's going on the other side of the face quite often. So as I'm painting the light plane of the lip, take a minute to look at the sculptures in the left side of the video. So these are casts used for cast drawing and cast painting, and those are the first exercises that any academic art school will have you do before you move on to drawing and painting portraits or figures from life. And I find in my own work that doing these cast drawings and cast paintings has helped me tremendously in my development of my artistic career. Getting the accuracy of the simple shapes from a distance is really something you can see in the cast in the background. You don't really see any detail on the cast, but you can immediately tell what they are right away. And that's the kind of effect that I'm trying to get on my portrait right now. It really is the bird's eye view, or the view from 10 feet away, that you're trying to perfect with your painting, because that's what people will immediately see, and that's what gallery owners will immediately see as well. They will see a thumbnail. And a lot of competitions, they'll be scrolling through paintings at the speed of, faster than the speed of light, it would seem. And the first thing that any person is going to see is the thumbnail view. They're not going to be seeing the eyelashes, they're not going to be seeing the wrinkles, the frown lines, the blemishes. They'll be seeing just big picture things. But once you have the big picture established, then you can put in as much small shapes or as much little information as you can. So as I like to say often in an Alla-Prima painting, each pass that you put on should in theory develop the drawing. And so I'd like to mention the significance of linear drawing in this kind of fashion. It's important to have that foundation of just getting a drawing as accurate as you can in light and shadow, in pencil, charcoal pencil, or soft fine charcoal, whatever you have, because that will really, really guide your paintings to the next level. And this holds true for the best of the direct painters, Velasquez, Sargent, Sorolla. Even though they use very, very impressionistic brush marks, those brush marks are guided by fine linear drawing. Look at this profile of MetaMX by John Singer Sargent. Now look again closely at the linear structure and see the similarity to bark drawings. copying those bark drawings is pretty much the first thing that you'll do when you enter a academic art school. And in fact, this school that I'm painting in at the moment, Zoll Studio, they have a class for bark drawing and cast painting as well. Copying those bark drawings is an invaluable tool to the artist, and it really teaches them how to simplify things correctly and accurately. Painting is the art of seeing, as many people say, and in order to accurately gauge what we see, we really need to take our time to develop our techniques and approaches to simplifying these things. And once we get a handle on that, we can really start to tell stories. We can create compositions. We can create many magnificent things. But just like a singer needs to learn how to sing before they can create the most epic pieces of music, the artist needs to learn how to simplify and how to work in a way that is beneficial to them and to the subject matter. At this point, I've said all that I want to say on the face. I've drawn out the eyes in relation to the nose and the mouth, and then I've applied a little form pass trying to render them a little bit. But now I'm going to be thinking about the rest of the canvas. So I'm blocking in the light side of the shoulder area, and I'm starting to also block in the shirt. And I'm thinking a lot about the vignette of this painting, the vignette being the unfinished regions that you leave in a sketch. So I decided to put some indications of the clothing that she's wearing and the color of the background. I'll also be spending some time painting the large values of the hair. Now hair can be a very deceptive thing. As I've mentioned before, hair can seem like just a random dark mass, but if you don't pay careful attention to the light and dark shapes of the hair, you'll end up getting a sort of helmet-like structure. So when painting the model's hair, I'm thinking about the area most perpendicular to the light source. So I'm thinking of the area that's getting hit most by the light, and it appears to me to be the region next to her eye, to her left eye. A little bit above it is the region that's being hit the most by the light. As you can see, I just painted a large flat plane for it, and I'll be getting a bigger brush to it and getting the hair masses to fit with one another. And so we don't want to paint individual strands of hair, we want to paint large masses of the hair that are in light and in dark. So that wraps up this week's portrait painting demonstration. Thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for more weekly videos.